you guys doing today? You guys ready to rock? How you guys doing today? Ready to rock today? We're gonna kick butt today, Bubba. Get him, Mike! Touchdown! Woo!
The reason why I do it is mainly because I feel like maybe I'm the leader of the pack. I got to get everybody going. Because let's face it, there's some days it's so boiling hot out there, you don't want to get up, you don't want to scream, you don't want to cheer, but hey, they see some big oaf with a horn on his head, painted up, acting like a freaking maniac, saying, get it up and stir it down. Hey, I get a little response, and that's what it's all about.
You know this guy, the Big Nasty, is one of the biggest Buccaneer fans we have ever seen.
Well, it all started a while ago when my brother broke up with his girlfriend. And I said, man, I wanted to cheer him up. So I said, dude, let's paint our faces. Let's go to the game. And a lot of mine used to wear a regular ball cap, painted our faces that orange puke paint, which stained my face for a month. But we went and had a blast. It was the Battle of the Pigs, the Bucs and the Packers back in the day. And we noticed there was a difference in the crowd because there were no face painters back then. None. People wore bags over their heads, which still annoys me to this day. The old lady looks at me when I come walking up. Me and my brother got beers in our hands, and hey, we're making hooting and hollering. And she goes, you know, Sonny, you need a nickname, something big and something nasty. And that's how it started. Big Nasty was reformed. So we had the Nasty crew. We had Little Nasty, JC Nasty, Nasty Steve. And we all said we're going to do two things. We're going to do charity work. And we're going to, you know, obviously try to make the 12th man proud one day and keep them growing, right? I envisioned back then kind of like the black hole, you know, because there was, like I said, there were no face painters. Now, you look around, there's a bunch. And you don't have to wear a costume to be a Buck fan. Just make sure you scream your lungs out on game day.
So much to take in. I feel like every time I turn and look, there's something else that like I might have missed. That you know,
this is nothing. Deb cleaned it up. So that was the year I got inducted into the hall, and that was unbelievable. Having a conversation, and that was the first time I got inducted in the hall. So that's 2001, and that's 2020. So that's from 2001. And then this one right here is the Ford Hall of Fans that they provided, which kind of looks like a class ring, but a little bit larger, which is pretty cool.
This is a personal question of mine, and we talk about the evolution of Big Nasty, but there was a number change at some point. The older photos that you see, I believe it was 78.
Yeah.
And then later on, you go to the 99, and it seems like it's been the 99 ever since. Is there a story behind the changing of the jersey numbers?
Absolutely. The first one's framed right behind me, number 1. And that's where hardly any, that's the old face paint. That's the stuff you're going to be like, what in the world? That guy looks terrible. So that started with that, number 1. And then 78 was my college football number. But then when I changed it to 99 is the day I met Warren Sapp at a fan fest. And literally it was the most craziest thing I ever witnessed. Because I heard nightmares just like every other fan, right? So I remember it like it was yesterday. Kerry Jenkins, Shelton Quarles, Warren Sapp. And you're in a line, you know, in club level, right? So my wife skips over the other guys, goes right to Warren. She's already having a conversation with him. And I'll be damned, I love every Buck. So I'm going, hey, Q, let's take a photo. Still have that. Kerry Jenkins, still have that photo. Then I walk up, and he's talking to Debbie. And he's got his bucket hat on. He's just signing autographs, kind of very reserved. And the Tribune is sitting there with a camera waiting for some kind of reaction to do a photo. So I walk up and I said, well, the Big Nasty meets the real Big Nasty. And I'm not the quietest guy in the world. And he goes, excuse me, sir. Exactly what he says to me. Can't you see I'm speaking to this young lady? And I went, wow. I can remember what it was like yesterday. I went, wow. And I put my arm around my wife. I go, I know you ain't trying to pick up on my old lady. And he says, he looks at Debbie and he goes, you know this jokester? And then he stands up, which everybody was freaking out because he wasn't talking to nobody. Came around, took a picture, Trivia went nuts. He said, he goes, I love your truck. And I said, you saw my truck? He goes, yeah. I said, why don't you smash into it? It'd been worth a bunch. You know, that's the kind of conversation we had. It was fun. And I said, that day I left, Debbie was like, he's so cool. I went 99. They ain't changed it since. It was very humbling and very cool. And to this day, you know, we still touch base. It's pretty neat.
So what's the story on this bust right here? It's
one of a kind.
Yeah?
And you won't believe what I got it for. I got a steal on it.
Did you really?
I think I paid less than $30 for that.
Where did you find it?
Actually, I found it on Facebook Marketplace.
No way.
Yeah, there's only one other. The guy is a sculptor, obviously. That one was a Mike. And I saw another one that he did of Shelton Quarles. And now I'm like, damn, I wish I knew where it was. It was at Oldsmar Flea Market.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect pairing, you know what I mean, to have two of the sculptures. But me knowing Mike, I had to get it. I used to trade out season tickets because the Bucs weren't very good, obviously, back in the day. So I worked at Bally's, right? Mm-hmm. And when I was working at Bally's, a lot of the team would come in because that's where they worked out, because we had a crap hole of a workplace.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. It was before the Palace, obviously. So they would come into Bally's Health Clubs, and I negotiated a big deal. I think we went from 4 season tickets to 13. And obviously I was going since, right? And Tony Dungy gave me that. That's why it says, thanks for keeping our staff in tip-top shape. Because anywhere from a receptionist to a player to a coach, they were all working out at the Tampa Valley location. Or not a Pez, but a watch. Look at that.
What?
A Bucco Bruce watch.
And it's...
That's dope.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I've never seen one. So when I saw it, I had to get it.
Where'd you find it?
I found that on eBay.
Yeah?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, a lot of these pieces all came with it. Like the trading cards. What the heck? How many match booklets with the matches in it do you have of the Tampa Bay Bucs, right?
That's great,
just silly
man.
stuff. A poker chip. This was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You put it on your poker chip. Obviously, the clone, I wouldn't put it on. I advise against it.
Probably doesn't get much better with age at this point.
The bobblehead, I'll never forget the day that happened. We were in the gym, and a guy named from BPI Collectibles said, hey, is this Big Nasty? I said, yes, sir. How can I help you? And he goes, hey, I want to do a bobblehead of you. And I thought it was somebody doing a prank. And I said, if you're so serious, be in my office in 5 minutes. He literally was in my office right then and there because he was on a cell phone. Come walking in and said, yeah, I want to do this. And I said, okay, show me what you want to do. We ended up doing 2,500 of them. And that's it. There's only 2,500, but this was the very first one. And as you can see, the prototype, the head was too small. So they made it bigger. But that's the very first one that was ever made of Big Nasty. And it, like I said, 2,500 of them. You know, now we sold them for $8 for charity back then. And now, shoot, you can get them for $100 on eBay. You know what that is?
Some old game film, it looks like.
That is. What? 1976 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Right?
That's awesome.
I got another one over there, the Packers. Guess how much I paid for that on Facebook?
$10.
$10 for both.
No way, man.
Actually,
for both of them. So two reels of
Actually,
film.
I take it back. It was $20 for 6 of them, and I sold the other 4, and I kept the ones that I liked there.
Wow. And this is one of those things that really at the time, well, at the time you kind of had to be working for the organization to get your hands on this stuff, right? Like this is something that they never expected a Big Nasty to end up buying on
when
Facebook.
I die, that's all going to the Bucs.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, Ian? That stuff right there needs to be in the Buccaneer. They need to make a museum. I don't know why they don't. They need to have a museum, because I'm sure I'm not the only Buccaneer fan that has memorabilia from yesteryears.
Do you have a favorite memory after all these years, whether it's in a game, football related, or anything outside of that realm?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about tenure, right? It's how long you've done it. But, God, you look back at all, you got to go back to the beginning. What got you to do the things you do? Who educated you to do the things you do? I mean, let's face it, we're a bunch of painted up fans. I mean, it ain't like you planned to be in the Hall of Fame one day. You understand?
Yeah.
So, two big things happened. I met Boss Hoggett, the Washington Redskins Hall of Fame fan. The guys who wear dresses and hog noses. I know it sounds funny, but those guys have raised over $100 million for children's charity. They're all retired colonels. They had a thing called, Hoggett for a Day. So that's when we came up with Nasty for a Day. And we've done game day experiences for live auctions for charities, right? Another thing we did was Drugs Are Nasty program that we've done, we're very proud of. And, we still got to see how we're going to continue to do that, because I think periodically Big Nasty will do charity stuff, but not at the games anymore after the season.
Let's rock the house, baby! Woo! Time to take down the Jags! I'm gonna have a snack today! It is Jag stew, baby! Go Bucs, baby! Woo! And I gotta clean my lip.
I guess where you realize you make a difference, and this story still, it gets me, so bear with me, because we're walking in the stadium, right? It's all four of us guys. My brother was alive then. We're all dressed up. We look like Motley Crue walking through. And I see a kid in a wheelchair. So I had this big red dog with a Buck jersey put on it, right? So I'll never forget it. I beat line to the kid. And now, could you imagine, at that time I was 426 pounds, walking up to a kid in a wheelchair that can't do a damn thing, eyes like basketballs, man. And he's like, I said, hey, buddy, how you doing? I said, you ready to win today? I said, I'll be here to hear you. And he couldn't even speak. And he's just smiling, man. And I just noticed that. I said, here. And I had it because I was like a hanging the red dog.
Yeah.
So I tied it to the wheelchair. Didn't think anything of it. I just said, that's cool. Just walk. I get on the other side of the stadium. There's a lot of drunks at the games, right? So this lady is losing her mind, like crying hysterically. Oh my God, he hasn't had any reaction in years. And I'm like, and she's grabbing me, and I'm like, what in the wrong was this lady? It was the young boy's mom. And when she was saying he hasn't smiled like that in years, I couldn't understand what was going on at first. And then I realized that's what it's about. And it isn't about being on TV, okay? It's about making somebody's game day experience memorable. And that's when we all realized it. And I just said, from here on out, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna miss that. I am. It's hard to believe that it came out of my mouth that I'm going to retire, and it's been difficult. I've been struggling for the last 2 years, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to be a Buck fan.
Right.
I'm still going to the games. I'm just not going to be that persona anymore. So one of my all-time favorite memorabilia, and I don't know as far as dollar amount valuable, but I could tell you as far as heartfelt memory and all-time favorite is my Mark Cotney and this trophy. And Mark Cotney was, the people that don't know, was back in the 70s, and his nickname was Captain Crunch. He was the John Lynch before John Lynch.
Like our Tampa Bay Bucks, Datsun has the winning combination for the 80s. I'm Mark Champion. Mark Cotney and I have been driving the 1980 Datsun 210. How about it, Mark?
It's the best way I know to save money on gasoline bills.
The story behind it, in that autograph about keep working, was I went to a Florida professional football camp. I think I was 8 years old or so. And I was a fat kid. So when I was in there, we're going to camp trying to figure out what position to be. So I go to D-line. They said, kid, you're too small to be a D-line. So they sent me to linebackers. So Scott Brantley at the time tells me, kid, you're too slow to be a linebacker. Now I'm about to bawl out and cry, right? So this gentleman, number 33, puts his arm around me and says, hey, son, what's wrong? because I was kind of sobbing. I ain't gonna lie. And I told him exactly what I told you, but I was doing it more like, you know, with the suffering crying. And he goes, "You're gonna be with us, defensive backs." But I ended up getting most improved that camp. So this little dinky trophy that might look like something that came from the dollar store, and it still has my mom's handwriting on it, which she's up in heaven now. So, you know, just documenting what it was for. There was 350 kids that camp, and I ended up getting most improved. So I'll never forget that. And to this day, that autograph says "keep working." I may not have been the most talented kid in playing football, but I outworked you. And to this day, I still do. I still keep that hard work, blue collar mentality.
You mentioned it briefly, but we'll wrap up with this. You talked about the retirement of Big Nasty after the 2022 season.
Me and my family have been talking about it. I feel like I'm Tom Brady now. Me and my family have been talking about it for the last several years. And it's not that I'm going to not enjoy being Big Nasty. I love it. I mean, it's nice to be loved, okay? But it's just, I'm at the point where I want to enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of the Rams game just recently, and we're just timed up 27-27. They want to take pictures. I'm like, guys, after the game. And literally, it's not just that. Like I said, that's the humbling part. You know, Richard Petty said a long time ago, he goes, you know what? Never turn down an autograph and never turn down a picture, because you never know when they're going to stop asking. I honestly, everybody says, you know, all these radios and TVs, oh, who's going to take over? It's not who's going to take over. There'll never be another Big Nasty. And that's not saying that, oh, I'm Big Nasty. There's never going to be another Big Nasty. There'll be another face. There'll be many faces. The only thing I hope and pray that whoever, or how about the whole entire 12th man, just do the same thing I did. Make somebody's game day memorable. Make it so they never forget it in a good way, not a bad way. See on the front, see, like, I'm pretty good at the autographs. Elliott's on there, Paul Gruber, Tony Dungy, Jorge Diaz, John Lynch, Scott Milanovic. Wow, shit, Jason Manecki. I didn't know he was on that. Tony Mayerberry, Jack Harris. Remember Jackie Harris?
Yeah.
Melvin Johnson. Shelton Quarles, look at that. Always had the prettiest freaking autograph, didn't he?
Right.
Always. To this day, he still has a pretty autograph. Courtney Hawkins. That's crazy. And on the back is Warren and stuff. Warren had to turn it over. Thanks, Warren. Screwed up my photos.